Okay, we are official. Well, you want to start the meeting? We're good to go.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well and had a good weekend. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule this morning to be involved in this important agenda item for UIA. So we just have one item on the agenda, which is a public hearing with regard to the issuance and sale of some telecommunications bonds. But I believe before we discuss that as a board, Jason Roberts, I think you have some information you'd like to present.
Yeah, just quickly, talking about the bonds, I'm going to hurry and share my screen here just to show kind of how we anticipate using these funds that are generated from this bond. Okay, can you guys all see that? I'm guessing. Roughly what we're looking at is we want $30 million of proceeds from these bonds. And I'll let Laura talk a little bit about the structure of bonds and how they look. One thing that is different about these bonds is we are expecting these bonds to go directly towards connections and not so much the build out of a network in existing cities, existing UIA/Utopia cities like we have in the past. Because of this, we have structured the bonds with less, instead of a 3 years capitalized interest period, we're only doing a 1 year capitalized interest period with these bonds. What we're expecting these to generate is new residential customers the first year of about 7,300 and the second year of almost 4,000 new residential customers. And then below, you'll see we expect roughly half of these bonds, if you look between fiscal year 24 and 25, to be spent on residential connections that we expect to see demand for in the next 2 years. And then another 4.5 million per year, 9.9 million total on business connection spending. We do hope to look for some grant match / business opportunities that may be out there with some of the federal funding that's coming up. We'll see if that's a possibility. And then spending some money on open trench and greenfield opportunity in existing areas. Any questions about that?
So Jason, this is Laura, and I'm driving, so I may have missed something, but I had in my head that some of the proceeds were going to be spent on, maybe system upgrades, i.e. electronics. Did you mention that?
No, I didn't. But basically what would happen is we do have cash flow coming in from UIA that could be used for system upgrades.
Okay, great.
This could free up more money to be used for system upgrades. But if we look at kind of when I looked at issuing new bonds, they should be for new growth is kind of how we've done it in the past. And that's kind of what I tried to show here.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I can't look at your screen, so my apologies.
That's okay. Yeah.
So Jason, a question, clarification. Well, you were clear in your explanation, but it's just a question, I guess, is with regard to the residential connection spend, the $14-15 million over 2 years. Is that, did I hear you correctly? That's anticipated to be an expansion within existing footprints, or does that contemplate perhaps any new build opportunities?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, if I could mention, we do expect this to bring in annual revenue. The first year we expect to increase our annual revenue by about $6 million per year. And that's just year over year increase. And the second year we expect it to be about 5 million. So we're expecting pretty good increased revenue off of this.
So there would be some business build in there. That's your grant match business opportunities, to Alex's question. Just, this isn't like, hey, we're going to go build some city. If there was a new city coming in, that would be a separate financing outside of this. And we do similar structure as we've done before. So we probably would have that, but this is just UIA on its own. We've already built out UIA. So the amount of mainline construction from this specific financing is pretty low on the mainline expansion of the network. pretty much just for some of the low hanging fruit for business opportunities, but not like entire footprints or cities.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that if there are good returns that are really good return business opportunities, that's what we expect to go after with some of this, and we may expand a little bit to get those if they're near our network.
Yeah, I think that I didn't ask it very well, but I think the purpose of my question, at least in my own head, which is empty sometimes, is the fact that this is exciting because the growth is being generated, internally, if you will, meaning it's our existing footprints that have been open for some time continue to grow. The demand continues to grow within those existing footprints, and we're not relying. The only growth we're experiencing is not because we're bringing on new footprints, and thus, if your growth stops, if new footprints stop, then you become stagnant revenue wise. So this is a really positive thing, even though it's a lot of money. It really demonstrates the strength of the network and the ongoing demand that is out there within areas where the network is not brand new. I don't know if that makes sense. So I think that speaks to the marketing and to our position in the market.
I will say some of this spend will go into like Pleasant Grove and Syracuse and Cedar Hills and the last few that we've entered, but a lot of the growth definitely is within existing footprints that have been there for a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even our oldest footprints, things in Linden, where it's been there. Orem and Linden, I think, had the first footprints in place. We continue to see increasing take rate in those areas, even though it's 15 years, 20 years later. So demand certainly isn't going the wrong way. We don't expect installs to ever stop in our cities or to plateau. It does slow down. I mean, obviously there's that growth when you bring on a new area, but all of our areas and all of our cities have continued to just increase in subscriptions. So we just hope that trend continues and have every reason to believe it will, with all the new technology and demand that's out there. Things look really good.
And Roger, this is Laura, churn continues to remain low, as I understand it, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Surprisingly low. It's pretty addictive service. It's very good, and as people come in with other things, it just doesn't compete with fiber. So if we lose someone, they often will just come back once they realize they were sold something, or it just isn't as reliable as the provider said it would be. So our churn is very low.
That's great.
To members of the board, are there any additional questions for Jason?
I was going to have Laura explain the structure of the bonds and kind of what they'll look like and what if I know she's driving. Is that something that you would have available driving, Laura? I'm sorry to ask that.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't as prepared as I needed to be time-wise this morning, so my apologies. I don't have anything, overly unique to talk about structure other than what you've talked about, Jason, with the 1-year capitalized interest. That is different than anything we've done before. The debt service after that will be level debt service. And, I have to give kudos to Jason. He spent, I don't know how many hours, working with Fitch and this analysis that they rely so heavily on. They refer to it as the FADS analysis. For this particular rating, they, surprisingly, and they've heard me complain about it, they don't really look at debt service coverage, which I think is the wrong approach. They only look at this FADS analysis, which is the measurement of your debt to your revenues. This time, I expect that, well, I should say next time, I'm expecting that when we go back, we'll get slightly better rating out of them, and it might just be them taking off the negative watch. They might move us up a little notch because of the way that these revenues are going to be spent, as opposed to going down the street. They'll be spent to connect people. So I think the revenue line will turn faster. So if there's something else that I've missed that you wanted me to touch on, Jason, I will have to put the baton back in your hand.
Okay. I do want to mention that we are required to fund a debt service reserve fund quickly with these bonds, and that will go in. And with that, in addition to bond issuance costs and the capitalized interest will bring the bonds closer to 35 million instead of 30. So we'll get 30 million of proceeds, but from the debt service reserve and the capitalized interest, I can't remember the exact million number, but it was 34, 35, 36-ish, somewhere in there. And the parameters allowed for that, but that's how it would look.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
Alex, this is Derek. I had one question for you, Jason. I think I mentioned it 2 meetings ago, but prepayment penalty on trying to get this thing refinanced. If we see some interest rate drop in the next 5 or 10 years, what's the time frame on the prepayment to refund
I'm
it?
hoping, Laura, I think it's 8,
Yep,
but it may be
Jason,
9.
Yeah, Jason, I'll jump in there. We have that discussion with the underwriter when we price to sort of see what the touch point is with the purchasers, whether they're going to charge us an interest penalty. I mean, we could get it, down to something like 5, but we'd probably have to pay, 25 basis points or more to do that, which we don't want to do. I think without a interest cost, I'm fairly certain we can get a 9-year par call. We might be able to get a year, but I would a lot of money on getting a par call.
I think what I heard was pretty sure we could get a 9-year call and maybe an 8.
That sounds good to me.
That's correct. Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Brad, I didn't want to forget you. Do you have anything you'd like to share regarding these bonds?
No, I don't have anything to share. This is a good day. I mean, when I look back, I was just going back and looking at the parameter resolution, and we're authorizing the 6th supplemental indenture under this particular structure, which means that we've done 5 deals in addition to this one. And so it's fantastic that we're moving forward. And then the fact of the matter is the growth justifies it. So it's good to be here and doing this today.
Agreed. Thank you, Brad. So we have before us the need for a public hearing. I was just looking to see if there's a resolution, but it appears like there's not. So I will entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for the purpose of discussing the possible issuance and sale of not more than 36 million of aggregate principal amount of tax exempt telecommunication revenue bonds, and also to take feedback or input regarding the potential economic impact that these improvements would have or possibly have on the private sector. So I'll be happy to entertain a motion.
Alex, this is Derek. I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Is there a second?
Second, this is Brent.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Let's just do a roll call on that. Brenda?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jason? Sant?
Yes.
Mayor Lundberg?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
And Leighton is an aye. Have I missed anybody?
Rockwood.
Oh, Nate, I apologize, Nate.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're now in a public hearing to take input regarding the subject as previously described. Is there anyone at the Utopia's offices or online that would like to give input regarding this matter?
There's no one at the office, and I didn't receive any comments online.
Okay. Thank you. Well, seeing and hearing no input from the public regarding this matter, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Alex, this is Derek. So moved to close the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Let's do another roll call. Leighton is an aye. Brenda?
Yes.
Jason Sant?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Brant,
Yes.
Mayor Lundberg,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
and Derek.
Aye.
Okay, that appears to be unanimous of those that are present. So, well, that was a simple matter. Thank you, thank you. Simple and important matter. But thank you to the staff for the great work you do, each and every one of you in your own respective areas. I certainly feel like we have a good team. Hopefully the balance of the board does as well and produce results. So these are good times in Utopia. So a lot of that credit goes, obviously, most of the credit, in my opinion, at least, goes to the staff and to your hard work. And also want to thank, as usual, the board members, elected officials, and staff members who support Utopia and believed in it and continue to press forward. It's blessing a lot of people in the state of Utah and beyond in ways much more important than just economics, at least in my opinion. To have access to a resource that allows for telemedicine and telecommunication and improved quality of life. So anyway, I don't mean to give a speech, but it happens because of good people, and UIA and Utopia have been blessed over the years, in my experience, to have good people involved. So thank you to all of you. Roger, is there anything else that we need to discuss?
That's it. Not a lot for you, but we do appreciate everyone's time and willingness to be on here, and obviously the support of the board to let us keep doing what we do.
Okay, very good. Also, Laura and Brad, thank you. Don't want to forget you. Great partners, great people. So appreciate all your contribution. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. To Brant.
Thank you, Brant. Is there a second?
Second from Derek.
Derek, okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, sounds to be unanimous. Again, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.